Welcome to the second episode of African Founder Story, a podcast that features interview with entrepreneurs from across Africa who share their unique journey of building and scaling successful tech startups. Each episode delves into the personal experience and insights of these founders, exploring the challenges they face, the solutions they develop, and the impact their product and services has had on their community and beyond. From fintech to e-commerce, health tech, and ag tech, African Founder Story showcases the diversity and dynamic of African startup ecosystem and celebrates the vision and tenacity of the individual driving it forward. Whether you're an entrepreneur yourself or simply curious about the cutting edge of African innovation, this podcast is sure to inspire and inform. So sit back, relax, and join us for a fascinating conversation with today's guest, Terese Akpem, the CEO and founders of Vetkonect, a digital animal health and telemedicine services that connects livestock owners with veterinary professionals and animal clinics across Nigeria. So, welcome, Terese. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Daddy. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
So, I was really so excited to kind of learn about your story, about your startup, what you are building, because I think it's very unique. And your product is around animal, all those kind of things. And we know that animals are among us. We love them. And
Right.
I'm so excited to learn about how you have been able to come across the idea, what was the challenge and how the journey looked like. I'm pretty sure the listeners and all the audience who are listening to that podcast are very eager to learn about your experience. So before we start, tell us who is Terese. Tell us about yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Daddy. I'm really excited to be here again. Thank you for having me. So who is Terese? So that's how the name is pronounced, Terese. It's a tribal name in Nigeria, in a state called Benue State, in a tribe called TIV, like TIV. We are really, really a large ethnic group. And then of course my middle name is Shadrach. I find that a lot of people find that easier to pronounce, and then my surname being Akpem. So yeah. So what's my story? So I'm this person here from Nigeria, really, really proud of my country. From Benue State, precisely, that's the state I come from. And professionally, I'm a veterinary doctor. And you would say that's where my inspiration came from. So, but beyond just being a veterinary doctor, I've had an opportunity to do a lot of exciting things around the digital space. 2017, 2018, I had an opportunity to join the Google for Africa project, where Google wanted to digitize and provide digital skills for about 10 million Africans. So I happened to be part of that project from then up until when it expired, I think last year. So going through, it started giving me insights around the possibilities of animal care. So I tried to first and foremost optimize my presence online. And funny enough, before we jumped on this call, someone called me online requesting for animal care services, and we just finished the conversation. Then I joined the call. So, but I realized that not very many veterinary professionals have this understanding on how to be able to position themselves and create visibility. Because while we have a lot of livestock farmers and pet owners across Nigeria and the rest of Africa, we have very, very few veterinary doctors. So in Nigeria, for instance, we have a population of about 280 million, right? That's the estimate. Yeah. And we have less than 12,000 veterinary doctors. So when you match that, you realize that it's a huge gap already. And there are some African countries that have less than 500 veterinary doctors. I think Cameroon has less than that. So Nigeria has the largest, but even with our numbers, it's still not sufficient. So I asked myself, how do you build a platform that will leverage technology to be able to amplify access to animal care? And I started looking at the dynamics. So one of the ones that I found was that technology is penetrating at a higher rate across Africa. So there's more phone ownership, internet penetration is increasing. So if you go to rural communities, you might find people that are using non-smartphones, they have SIM cards, they're able to communicate. So I said, okay, this would be an opportunity to be able to provide care for those in urban communities as well as those in rural communities. So I, at the time, did not have any knowledge in programming, but I had a lot of social capital. I had friends who were into tech. So I reached out to them, and this is one advice I would drop there for anybody. When you want to be able to create impact, you need to be able to mobilize people, right?
Exactly.
So I brought people. I didn't have the resources, but because of the goodwill I built over time, they were willing to help me test this idea. So I built the first version of Vetkonect on zero budgets. I didn't pay anything. I think the only thing we bought was our hosting site, and I leveraged my capital in terms of what I had with my friends to get started. So after launching,
let's say I didn't want to cut you,
right,
but what you're saying is very, very powerful. It's very, very insightful. Because I
yeah,
used to came across people who used to say,
mm-hmm,
oh, I need money to start my business. I need
mm-hmm,
money to do that.
yeah,
But you don't have money. It's not
mm-hmm,
like you didn't spend money, but you do
yeah,
spend maybe small. But it's not
mm-hmm,
like you were sitting down and say, I need to have money to start this kind of
right,
business. You just go for
right,
it. And it's very
true,
important for the listener to understand.
mm-hmm,
Entrepreneurs are people who take action. They are not just
right,
that and then wait for things. No, if you're keeping waiting for things to happen, it's not going to happen.
very true,
You see. So your story, I'm pretty sure people are going to find really insightful about how you started. You didn't
yeah,
was just waiting there listening. I want to
mm-hmm,
get this. I want to get it. You
mm-hmm,
mobilize your community because you have resources. As a
yeah,
woman, even myself, we have resources. Maybe my brother, she's doing this, had the skills. Maybe my friend discussed the skills. Maybe I did, maybe a school with a friend who had the skills. I can just mobilize that skills. I ask them if
mm-hmm,
they can help, and then they come
mm-hmm,
together and they build what we are, we build the product. This is how we move
yeah,
forward, and it's very
yeah.
amazing. So yeah,
Thank you.
go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And I agree. Because across Africa, one of our biggest challenges is access to finance. So,
Exactly.
but it's important. It's important to start. When you start, you are able to attract the goodwill. But because most times when people come along, they'll ask you, "What have you done?" or "What are you doing?" So,
Exactly.
because I was able to demonstrate a proof of concept, it helped me attract my first really small seed funding that helped us put some things together. Yes, we built a
Wow.
product that is functional. Um, so much can be done. We're not there yet. But
Yeah.
because I
No, no.
understood, yeah.
Tell you us a bit about the seed funding. Like, is it coming from a
Mm.
VC, from a
Okay.
friend,
Oh,
from
well,
family,
no,
from
I
angel
mean,
investors?
so it was a grant, not too much. I think if you look at it from the perspective of our Nigerian currencies, the first was around $1,000. So it's not too much, but that was really a
It's
lot
much.
because
No, it's not
you know,
just too much. It's a lot. It's a
right.
lot because
Hmm.
I know what $1,000 can do. I mean,
Hmm.
I know what $1,000 do. It can transform you to maybe like a 50K, like a 50K revenue. It's a
Right.
lot. Like it's
Hmm.
very a lot. Don't say no, it's a lot.
I agree. It's a lot, really, because
Okay,
it really
so
helped us. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, go ahead. It's really
Okay.
help you to.
Yeah, it really helped us to, put some things in place. Like I said, we needed to, our domain at the time was expiring. We got the renewal done. And we also were able to, because the talent I was able to build in-house didn't
Yeah.
have all of the expertise that we needed. So we needed to be able to upgrade on that. So one of the things that that helped us do was to attract a product designer who, because when we launched, we got a lot of feedback from
Yeah.
those using from. In fact, we understood what we needed to improve on. So it helped us do a holistic redesign, helped pay the designer. And now we're at that point where we're ready to really now open up to more about 5 African countries and
Yeah.
scale and then begin our monetization. So and again, I think another critical thing I will say is
Yeah.
beyond just attracting some goodwill around the product development. I was able to also attract some goodwill around publicity. So I have a community of about 200 young people. I call them Vetkonect champions. So what they
Okay.
do is to help promote Vetkonect. So they do it at no cost to me. So they simply
Hmm.
share in the vision of what we are doing. And because I know that there's so much money can do, But even beyond that, even on the other side, there's so much goodwill you can do too, because there's a limit volunteering can go and will not be able to go. That's why, again, we're looking for avenues to be able to attract funding. But to this point, the over 5,000 users we have now were generated organically through the publicity, through the driving awareness of our volunteers. So I think I'm happy that we have taken off on a very organic level, and we have that level of community ownership that says, okay, I believe in what Vetkonect is doing. I believe in this project. I see that these people are trying to do something really amazing, and even if they are not there yet, I want to be part of their success story. And I get a lot of this goodwill, and it's really, really a humbling experience, because it goes on to validate that in the end, even if you don't have all the money you need at the moment, you can start from somewhere.
That's very amazing. I think tell us a bit, the community, it looks like it has really helped you a lot. Like in terms of spreading the word of your product, instead of getting your attention. Can you tell us a bit about what community is? Like, is it very powerful as an early startup? Is it very interesting to build a community?
Yeah, it's really important, because it's one of those ways you validate an idea, right? If you are going to be able to convince somebody who is willing to commit their time is a huge resource, right? And some even commit their money, commit their smartphones, commit their data, commit their phone calls. It's already a validation that what you're doing is a big deal. And it's one easy way of testing your product. So you have a community of 200 people. Once you roll out a product, you can easily drop it amongst them. Okay, what do you think about it? What can we change before it goes out to the public? So it serves a lot of purposes. And it also helps attract some goodwill. You don't know who is who. You might have people in your community who have a lot of high-ending connections. And they simply would share an insight to say, okay, can you speak to this person? And maybe all the challenges you need, are sorted off just by one call. So I take social relationships really seriously, because I know that it's a big deal. I've seen it work for me in several, because I work across different sectors, and I've seen that I can easily leverage social capital anytime to be able to achieve things. So that's why I'm not so much about transactional relationships, because I know that it could fail any day. But
for sure. I get it. I perfectly agree with your community. Community is very, very powerful at the start.
Right.
And when you build a community, you are more closer than you are more closer with your customers. You can interact with them, you can ask the things, and I can testify that it's very, very interesting. But if you go back to your product, to the tech product, so you provide medicine to which type of animals? Is it Yeah, can you go through it a little bit?
So let me try to describe how Vetkonect works. So like I said, our at the center of what we do is to be able to advance access to animal care. And one of the things we're adding to that is social protection, because they are linked one way or the other. But how does the product work? So on Vetkonect today, users are able to connect to veterinary doctors. So our users are broadly cut across livestock farmers and pet owners. And then we'll have the veterinary doctors, and then we'll have vendors of pet products and livestock products. So you come on Vetkonect as a user, you're able to find a veterinary doctor close to you. So imagine how you're using Uber to be able to know the next, so you're able to just select your location, connect to a veterinary doctor, connect to a veterinary clinic, connect to vendors, and then we have some productivity tools. We have a feed calculator that helps livestock farmers estimate feed quantity. We have an AI-powered disease predictor that's helping with prediction and connecting you back to veterinary doctors to assess care. And then again, because we understand that human beings are social animals by nature, we have embedded a chat forum, which is meant to help connect users. So you come there, you're able to connect, we're modifying what Quora does to see how we can build a community that is niched down to pet owners, livestock farmers, enthusiasts, veterinary doctors. So that inclusive community that is able to serve that purpose. So that's basically how the product works. And we're active in Nigeria.
If I want to get access to the product, do I have to download an app or go to a website? And can you tell us how to get access to the product?
So if you want to access Vetkonect today, you can find us on our website, www.vetkonect.com. You can also find us on Google Play Store Play Store. You can also find us on Apple Store. So we are available across all channels. And I said something critical about our community of livestock farmers and pet owners in the rural communities. So the challenge for these people are the challenge of internet penetration and the challenge of smartphone ownership. So what we're doing is we're already ideating a solution through our we're going to be leveraging USSDs so that we provide care too for those category of people, because currently there's that lack of coverage. So that's why we're saying Vetkonect is really a holistic and inclusive solution that is going to cut across board. So it doesn't matter your level of literacy. Once you fall into the category of people who are targeting, it doesn't matter where you are. We're going to ensure that you get access to animal care.
For sure. That's very interesting. But if I can connect with through your app or your website, that means I as a customer, I can be everywhere and connect with you, Nigeria.
That's true,
right? So that means you are not just in Nigeria.
So
because I can be in Ghana. I can be in Ghana and connect. Because what you do is you just connect, you connect me with a veterinary so they can provide me advice on this. So that means your customers is very global. It's not just
let me even give you more insights on that. We're building this product. The vision is by 2030 we want to be able to have provided animal care for 5 million Africans. It's really an ambitious target, I know. But the thing is, just like you said, once something goes to the internet, it can be accessed anywhere. So we are saying that while we're targeting Africa, as of now, yes, if you're in Ghana, if you're in Rwanda, if you're in Cameroon, you can be able to use Vetkonect. But for scope, if you wanted to access a veterinary doctor in Nigeria, the best the person can do for you as of now is telemedicine, and it's one of the things we're embedding. So, like I said, the design we have now that we're rolling out is going to open up to the rest of Africa. And why we're doing that is because we want to enable more opportunities. So telemedicine is becoming a thing now, right? People should be able to, professionals should be able to earn more, from the comfort of their spaces. So we're going to be taking advantage of that. So eventually, beyond just Africa, more users are going to be coming because it's everywhere. But our scope of impacts is across the African continent.
For sure. I like that. Very inspiring story. Very inspiring story. So now let's dive into, let's share our experience into building partnership, maintaining investors' relationship, and legal matters. I think those are the top topic that it's very interesting to share to our listeners to know about how to build a partnership. So in your case, so have you had to build a partnership, or do you have partners with who you work with? Can you tell us how you connect with them and how to maintain that partnership going?
Right. Thank you so much. And I agree. Partnership is really one way to be able to advance what you're doing, because again, it's also a way of getting more followership, more validity on about what you're doing. So far, we're not so big on partnerships yet. But what we'll be able to do is to maximize the immediate opportunities. And we have 2 partnerships currently with student bodies who are currently studying veterinary medicine in Nigerian universities. And why we thought to leverage all of that at this time is because in a matter of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, these people we have who are students will be veterinary doctors themselves. So they already have an understanding of Vetkonect is doing, so they easily transition to the platform, which means more users. We are now also looking at how, by the time we properly position ourselves, we will start exploring partnership with bigger organizations, as big as the Food and Animal Organization, as big as, WHO, as big as the World Organization for Animal Health, as much as gives us that validity, because I believe that as of now, what we're doing is going to be critical to a lot of international organizations who will be planning animal health interventions. So we want to position ourselves in a way that we become the go-to company when it comes to understanding how the digital animal health infrastructure is working, not just in Nigeria, but across Africa in a very few years. So we are exploring. So any partnership that takes us closer to this, it's really important. And another partnership we're also looking to build is with organizations that provide us the kind of technical support we need. Because as we build, we know that we're going to require more engineers, we're going to require more analysts, we're going to be requiring more designers and all of that. So it's important that we have people who are part of our team. So that way we know that we can fall back on them anytime to be able to deliver on it. And then, yeah, I think on the legalities, so that's another one. So not necessarily saying I have partnerships with that, but I have a legal practitioner who has helped guide me on this journey, advising in terms of intellectual property, what I need to do, how I need to scale, and all of those things. So it's really, really preparing me to sort out those challenges because I'm really trying to go big now in trying to raise funding because, like I said, we're at that point where we really need to be able to move fast and open up the platform in a more robust capacity, and we need money to do that. And in attracting money, it comes with a lot of things. So we want to be sure that we have our angles covered. We are speaking to the right people, and we ensure, and that's why I'm really excited again about the startup incubator program, because speaking to these experienced mentors would give us a good understanding of what to expect, as we talk to investors.
And also don't forget that those mentors where you are currently part of Microsoft for Startup Readiness and Everything program are not just mentors, they're investors.
Absolutely.
So they can literally have an idea about your product, and then also you can also connect with them, because the most important thing is when you go to an investors and then you ask for funding, they are not going to give you funding right away. You need to build a relationship. You need to connect with them. You need to be their friend. You need to send them, maybe monthly update or quarterly update to kind of for them to have an eyes about what you are building, to have an eyes about your progress in terms of startup. Because nowadays, investors really wanted to invest not just in the product, but about on the entrepreneur itself. So I think it's a great opportunity, and as per my experience as as an entrepreneur as well, I talk with a lot of investors. But what I noticed so far is you have to be consistent, right? You need to build something really solid. You need to show that your revenue, your startup is on the right way to generate massive revenue, because investors' money are supposed to come back. So if they are not able to see that they will take back their money, it will be difficult for them to kind of commit with a certain amount. That's what I can really share as an entrepreneur for an investor, meeting an investor, but also for partnership as well. As you said a lot of great things, because partnership depend on every sector where you are, either you are in fintech, in commerce, agri-tech, or health tech. It depends on where you wanted to position yourself to grab some partner. Because partner is very interesting because it helps you to increase your revenue. It helps you to leverage, increase your customer base. It helps you to reach a certain number of other partners or customers as well. And in our case, well, we really also work with a couple of company because as a startup you cannot do everything. You need someone who can do maybe something. We know that okay, you need this one. You don't have time to fully focus on that because they already have the expertise doing it. Okay, I'm going to partner with them so they can provide this to us so we can move forward. Because the best thing as a founder is to move quickly and well.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Yeah. So just the last word. Can you tell us your vision for your company for your next year, and give us a types or an advice about our listeners who wanted to jump into the animals sector, right? What you're doing. Can you give us how they have to do it? Can you give us some advice so they can be prepared?
Well, broadly, like I said, our vision is to broadly, like I said, reimagine access to animal care, as it were. And what we want to do by 2030 is to be able to provide animal care and social protection for 5 million Africans right across the continent. Immediately, what we're doing to help us achieve that is we have done a holistic redesign of the entire platform, which we want to roll out in the next 2 to 3 months. And then we're building a USSD platform, which will now cater for rural communities. So once we do that, we'll be able to now begin monetization that gives us a level of sustainability. Now, by next year, we want to be able to at least be active in at least 5 African countries. We want to be able to capture a minimum of 100,000 users across board. And more importantly, we want to see tangible value, translate, because like I said, this is something that is currently missing. We have the livestock sector in Nigeria. If you're going to talk about it in Naira terms, it's around 33 trillion Naira. Trillion, 33. That's a big deal, right? That's somewhere around, I think, 407 billion US dollars. Just the livestock sector, that's a big deal. And we incur a lot of losses to livestock diseases, to animal diseases, to lack of animal care. So there's this gap that is existing. And I believe that technology gives us the biggest platform and the biggest opportunity to be able to close that gap. And that is why I'm really confident that this opportunity or this Vetkonect is really something that is going to be a mind blower. It's going to impact the continent. And maybe next year I'm coming back here on this call telling you that, wow, okay, I think we're edging closer to becoming a unicorn.
For sure. I believe what you're doing. I think your product is very good. It's very amazing because in Africa, we don't have a lot of people helping us with our animals. And so I really interested about what you're doing. So last words, your advice.
So my advice to young people who are looking to build solutions would be that, start regardless, right? Because starting will help you know whether you're on the right journey or not. And don't start alone. In Africa, we always like to do this one-man business. Nothing sustainable can be built. I mean, if I keep telling my team that if I'm not going to be around and things will not work, then we're not sustainable yet. So once you start, the next thing is, can you quickly build a team? That team will help you criticize your product, will help you validate it. And as you do that, you're quickly able to know what you need to do right. And I think as much as possible, beyond just finances, relationships matter because they come through for you when money will not. So I think it's important that we cultivate all of these things. And let's believe in Africa. There's so much potential here. And I believe that big things are going to happen. So yeah, those are my words.
Let's believe in Africa. I like that. Thank you so much, Chadwick. It was very interesting to share to listen to your show and to your story. You are building really something amazing.
Thank you very much.
That's all for today's episode of African Founder Story. We hope you have enjoyed these glimpses into the world of African tech entrepreneurship and you have gained valuable insight from Chadwick, which was our guest today. So if you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast, leaving a review and sharing with your friends and colleagues. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back soon with another inspiring story from the front lines of African innovation. Thank you, and bye.